I was tagged by Stuff We Do to give him my top 5 user knives, and I've seen in the community this tag going around, and I apologize if anybody else has tagged me. I haven't noticed it. I don't follow a lot of big channels. I primarily am interested in the little channels, like 2,000 or less. I still follow some big channels. I follow Of Them Knives, Zach Stuff, Big Red EDC, but that for the most part I followed all the small channels. So if I haven't came across someone else tagging me, I apologize. So I'm going to give my top 5 user knives, and I have to touch on user knives that I carried a long time, but I don't primarily carry it any longer. But I will give you true 5 knives that recently I've been carrying a lot. So sometimes it changes. For the most part, maybe 1 or 2 knives changed out, but at least 3 of them I carry all the time. So before I get started, I'm going to touch on a knife that I carried. I carried a Tenacious for years. This is my old Tenacious. It's surprisingly it's in good shape. I carried its baby brother, the Ambitious, a lot too, but I didn't want to go digging it out. I just cleaned it up and put it away. So the Tenacious was easier to get to. So I'm not going to include this because this is an old knife. As you can see, I carry tip down. And I didn't care like in the old days. I carry exclusively tip up now, but this knife got me through a lot of situations. Currently, it's probably pretty sharp. It's not as at its peak, but I've had it sharpened a lot. Surprisingly, it's held up. Like 8CR steel doesn't primarily stain or rust or some. It doesn't show anywhere on the satin blade. So this is a knife I carried a lot. I used it a lot. The other one I just wanted to touch on is my Kershaw knockouts I carried a lot. They were my top user knife. Primarily this LMAX steel version I carried a super lot, like at least 10 years. I carried it religiously every day. It was like my main user knife, and it's held up. It's some marks on the blade, but in the handle, but it's pretty much took the abuse, and I didn't break the blade or even scratch it. So let's put these knives aside, and I wanted to touch on 2 knives that probably make all my reviews, at least half of my reviews. These knives have appeared in my Benchmade bug out that I won from JB from Big Red EDC's Saturday Knife Live, and this is one of the few knives I ever accepted or entered, and I kind of liked it because I couldn't afford a bug out, and I miraculously won. So this knife is sort of like a user knife because I use it as a comparison knife, size comparison. And before that, I used this Tenacious a lot for size comparisons too. And it's not seen that much use other than my table as comparisons. I dyed the scales, and I changed the pocket clip to tip up, and I've carried it, here or there. But for the most part, I cut very little with it. Did I say I did a scale? So I dyed the scale. So it used to be tan. So these 2 knives I'm not counting, but these two knives are sort of my user knives as videos. In videos, this would be my number one user knife. I use this knife a lot. I use it every day. I would say I open mail with it, cut boxes, break down boxes. I carry it a lot. This is the I always forget the name of this knife. Look down the screen. I can't remember why. I don't understand why I forget the name of it. It's kind of a name that it just does nothing for me. But the knife, I think it's great. So this is in D2 steel, and yeah, this would be my number one user knife because I carry it, I don't know, as a backup around the house. It's placed on my shelf up there within easy reach, and it's my go-to knife, my go-to user knife. My second user knife, and surprisingly, it's a Kershaw too. It's a modern take on a traditional knife, I would say, and I use it a lot. Therefore, I added a lanyard to it. I carry it loose in my pocket. I don't have a slip for it, but maybe I should add a slip for it. Yeah, it's basically a $20 knife, so I probably won't add a slip to it. I couldn't see me spending $50 on a slip just for this knife. But it features G10 on the scales, or the covers, and I don't know. I don't remember what steel. It's a low steel. 7CR maybe. I'll put it on the screen. But this is a really good knife. It follows me around the house, and I carry it occasionally. It doesn't have any half stops, but it's quite snappy. This is my second most used knife, user carry knife. My third is kind of surprising because it's a little bitty Civivi Kiwi. I find this knife fantastic. I love carrying this. I usually never leave the house without this, like a fifth pocket knife, even though I don't have fifth pockets in my BDUs, but I carry it loosely in my keys pocket, so it gets banged up, but it's looking very good, and it rattles around in my pocket with my keys, but it doesn't look like it. And I recently bought, so yeah, this has not gotten rotation. I keep both of these in a drawer next to my review table. I keep both of these because they're small. I have a you see a case, a wooden case that my daughter bought for me, and I keep all these knives that I EDC daily in there. But I don't keep these knives in there because they're pretty small, and yeah, I keep the bigger knives in there. So I carry this one every day. So let's put that aside. I really love this Dagger knives. I think this is the Dagger Sting. Yeah, I prefer doing this method. I mean, I can finger flick it out, but my finger it's bleeding and it's very sore. I fucked my finger up. It doesn't have a band-aid on it, but yeah. Flicking it out is just antagonizes it more. So luckily, this knife can shake out. So I carry this knife a lot. it's held up. Everything I've cut, I've been able to clean off the blade, and it doesn't have any marks. And surprisingly, I haven't dyed the scales because I kind of like this jade with this black. I've held off dyeing the scales, and it's probably good because I think this is a Blade HQ exclusive. So I carry this knife a lot. This is one of my top user knives. I would consider like number 4, and its brother and its other little brother. This is the Dagger Arrow, and this is the Dagger Pelican, I think. Pelican? Yeah, I think it's a Pelican. I rotate these out. I consider them all 4th place knives in my user carry. Yeah. And I did dye the scales on this one. So I consider this all one knife because I rotate these out. And my last knife is kind of new, and it became my go-to knife, user knife, in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And this is the Kaiser Enya. I really like this knife. And I recently gave away the black bolster, G10 bolster, green micarta version to and black blade to a winner of my 888 giveaway, and he left me with this orange. And honestly, I like both of them, but I would add either one of them to my top user knives. But he left me with this black satin version, and I love it. I dig it. I carry this knife a lot, and luckily it's a shakeout design too. It's a shakeout design, and I love it. It's a guillotine-ish knife. Like, you got to get your finger out of there quickly because it will literally cut you. So I love flipping it out this way. Anyway, this is, I don't know, I'm starting to babble on, and I didn't give you reasons why they're the top 5 user knives, but I've pretty much, I think I've done a review on all of them. So if you dig around in my video archive, you'll probably see a reason for my interest in these knives. This is the Kershaw, I want to say Static. I could be wrong. The Kershaw Culpepper. This is Vivi Kiwi. The Dagger Arrow, or Dagger Sting. So the Dagger Arrow and the Dagger Pelican fits in the same class. And the Kaiser Enya. Thanks for the nomination, Stuff We Do. So let's nominate 3 new people from the wall. And if you guys do a video, nominate, hopefully you can nominate anybody, but maybe mention 1 new people from the wall or 1 current member that's been there a long time. I'm going to nominate Outdoor Gear Addiction, Mattisfaction, and Alex Knives and Such. Show me your top 5 user knives. Take care, Wastelanders.